We begin with breaking news right now at noon. We are staying on top of reports of an active shooter at the St. Vincent North Hospital campus in Sherwood. THV 11's Frederick Price has been at the scene in Sherwood since we first got word of this. Frederick, what are authorities telling you right now?
Yeah, Mackailyn, it is still a very active scene here in Sherwood. We're outside of the main entrance of the St. Vincent campus in Sherwood. I'm going to step out of the shot so you can really see a large police presence. The North Little Rock police are here, Little Rock police, of course, Sherwood authorities, and other authorities are trying to figure out exactly what has happened. I can tell you that the witnesses that we talked to earlier, we talked to a physician that was on the 4th floor, and ostensibly that is where this incident happened. We have not been able to confirm this with police, but that physician that was on the 4th floor said that she was caring for a patient at that time when she heard 2 gunshots, and her and the patient ducked down for safety, and then she heard 2 more gunshots, and that's when her and her team members and that patient had to leave the 4th floor to come to danger. We also talked to some other witnesses here on the scene that were on the 2nd floor, the 1st floor, trying to get some lab work done, some radiology work done, and they say that they heard that notification on the PA system, and that's when they went to safety. We talked to one person that was cleaning when she heard that notification on the PA system that the hospital was on lockdown.
I don't know, I ain't never just really been through nothing like this, so it's kind of scary. I was trying to get to safety, so.
Back out live now, just a devastating scene for anyone who was involved, those people in the building. Again, police have not been able to confirm any fatalities at this point, but they're still trying to put the pieces to this puzzle together. But Sherwood police did confirm that there was an active shooter, and they say that this happened shortly before 10 o'clock. And hospital employees tell me that they train for active shooter drills like this throughout the year, but it's nothing like actually experiencing. Of course, we're going to have more coming up tonight on THV 11 News at 5 and 6 o'clock. For now, though, we're live tonight in Sherwood. Frederick Price, THV 11 News.
Thank you, Frederick. We'll be checking in with you shortly. Thanks again. Now to our other big story at noon. We're taking a live look from Marco Islands as Hurricane Ian makes landfall. The storm has been growing stronger all morning as it moves into the coast. The powerful storm is packing top sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, making it just shy of a Category 5 storm. As Jason Allen reports from Tampa, Ian is already causing damage even before it makes landfall.
Hurricane Ian flooded streets in Key West before dawn as the powerful storm barreled toward Florida's southwest coast, bringing with it strong winds and heavy rain across the state.
It is going to have major impacts in terms of wind, in terms of rain, in terms of flooding. So this is going to be a nasty day, 2 days.
Be prepared. Storm warnings are real. The evacuation notices are real. The danger is real.
The storm damaged neighborhoods, including in Pembroke Pines, north of Miami. In Davie, Florida, residents woke up to downed trees and other debris. More than 2.5 million people were under mandatory evacuation orders, but by law, no one could be forced to leave.
I urge Floridians who have made the decision to shelter in place, to stay indoors, and stay off the roads.
The National Hurricane Center warned of storm surges, raising the level more than 12 feet for some coastal areas. Officials in Charlotte County braced for a direct hit.
We are beginning to see sustained tropical storm force winds, which means emergency crews from all of our emergency response agencies have been pulled from the road and are no longer able to respond.
There are already reports of power outages, and officials with Florida Power and Light warned people in Ian's path. Electricity could be out for days. The state and FEMA say they are ready to help as soon as the storm moves out.
We have moved in a variety of generators of all sizes and types.
And the U.S. Coast Guard urged people to be cautious as it answered several calls for help this morning from people in Key West caught in the storm. Jason Allen, CBS News, Tampa.
The local chapter of the American Red Cross is sending a team of volunteers to Florida. This is video of other teams already on the ground. About 20 people are staying north of the storm this morning, with another 40 on standby. Another Red Cross emergency response vehicle is also leaving from Little Rock tomorrow morning. They could be there for weeks. Other local Red Cross teams are also helping out in Puerto Rico, Alaska, and with the wildfires on the West Coast. Now let's get a quick check of our forecast with meteorologist Corrales Ortiz. You know, here at home, if you walk outside, it's actually really nice out. Fall is finally here. What can we expect?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's not going to be the case for everybody across the nation to have the tranquil weather that we're dealing with here. As we've been mentioning, we're seeing a powerful storm impact Florida right now. Hurricane Ian, here's the latest. As of noon, 155-mile-per-hour sustained winds, like we just mentioned, with gusts as high as 190 miles per hour. You can see the center of that storm just off the coast, preparing to make landfall in really within the hour, in just a few minutes even possible, with the eye wall really areas like Boca Grande, Port Charlotte, even the Fort Myers region feeling the brunt of the eye wall there as it continues to make its trek across the state of Florida. So I'll have the latest details on that, but we're sitting at 76 right now. Still going to be dealing with these dry, quiet conditions, highs a bit cooler this afternoon in the low 80s. We have still a very quiet pattern in store, but I'll have more details in your forecast coming up.
Thanks, Corrales. And this afternoon, more burn bans are being put in place across the natural state. Arkansas now has 19 counties under a burn ban, including Pulaski, Jefferson, and Faulkner County. Now, that number has grown by 2 just since our morning newscast. This time of year is typically a time to be excited for fall. It means cooler temperatures and the changing of leaves, but as the plants die off and dry out, that risk for wildfires starts to climb. Drought conditions across much of the state aren't helping either. The Arkansas Forestry Commission is monitoring the state for wildfires by flying planes to see if any smoke appears. But Forester Joe Fox says there are things you can do to prevent this.
If you're parking in dry grass and you got a real hot muffler, that's not a good thing to do. Certainly don't flick your cigarette butt out now anywhere. If you're mowing your grass or bush hogging in a pasture, be careful and stay away from rocks. That's the spark that starts the grass fire that runs off in the woods.
Right now, almost 2/3 of the state is at moderate risk for fires. The other third is at a high risk. The ongoing issue of short-term rentals in Little Rock is delayed again, but it may finally get addressed in the next week. The City Board of Directors put off voting on the ordinance twice, but it met last night to set the agenda for next week. Once again, the topic of regulating Airbnb and Vrbo rentals is set to be debated. The Planning Commission has already hashed out proposed annual fees for owners of short-term rental properties. Those fees would be $100 and $500. Arkansas's Attorney General is joining a lawsuit claiming the state of Delaware kept millions of dollars that should have gone to Arkansas. The lawsuit involves the money transfer service MoneyGram and what happens to unclaimed funds. The AG says Arkansans are due $150 million. According to her, the law requires any unclaimed money to go back to the state where it was purchased. But with MoneyGram based in Delaware, the state has a habit of holding on to a lot of money.
Keeping unclaimed property, like the money at issue, is one of Delaware's largest sources of revenue.
The case is among the first cases the High Court will hear in their new session. A conservative state senator just lost his seat at the Capitol, but not because he lost an election. State Senator Alan Clark from Lonsdale was suspended for the rest of his term. It comes after the Senate Ethics Committee ruled that he filed frivolous ethics charges against Democrat Stephanie Flowers. Clark was already in trouble after the committee found he was paid for travel to a meeting he didn't attend. He said Flowers essentially did the same thing, but senators found her situation was different and allowed by the rules. Clark is running unopposed in November for the new District 7, so he'll return to the Senate in January. And Hurricane Ian led to the postponement of the final January 6th congressional hearing, which was scheduled for later today. The new date has not yet been announced. The committee will release a final report on the insurrection sometime after the midterm elections.
Coming up in the forecast, I'll have the latest on Hurricane Ian and its impacts on the Florida coast, as well as what changes we may see in the forecast for us this week, if any. More on that coming up.
And we are staying on top of an active shooter situation at St. Vincent Hospital in Sherwood. We'll have a live report with the latest information after this quick break.